All right, today we are diving into some pretty explosive claims that are floating around. We're talking about an alleged secret U.S. military operation to seize Venezuelan oil, supposedly ordered by former President Donald Trump. So let's unpack what this source is actually saying and figure out what this is all about.
So, has the attack begun? The source just drops this question on us right from the get-go, really setting the stage for a major escalation. So, what exactly is this supposed attack? Let's get right into the specifics.
Okay, first up, we have the naval capture operation. The source calls this a mega operation to grab a Venezuelan oil tanker. Let's see how they say it went down.
So, according to this source, the whole thing went down in 3 swift moves. You've got helicopters taking off, Marines and Special Forces storming the tanker, and then, bam, the ship is captured, just like that. What's really striking is how this is all framed. It's not messy, it's portrayed as this perfect, overwhelming show of military precision. And get this, we're not talking about a small team here. The source claims that over 20 specialized personnel were involved. You've got the Coast Guard, Marines, Special Forces, the whole shebang. It really adds to this idea that this was a significant, heavily coordinated operation. And here's the part where the source really wants you to feel the sheer power of the U.S. military. This whole operation was supposedly launched from the USS Gerald Ford. You know, just the largest, most advanced, nuclear-powered aircraft carrier on the planet, sitting right off the coast of Venezuela. That's not just an action, it's a statement. Okay, so you have this massive military operation, this incredible show of force, which brings us to the big question, right? Why? Why would the US do something this aggressive? Let's take a look at the justification that's being presented.
All right, so now we get into the justification for the seizure. According to the source, this ship was tangled up in all sorts of illegal activities.
The ship at the center of all this was a tanker named the Skipper. And the story goes, this wasn't some random vessel. Nope. The Skipper had apparently been on the radar of American authorities for a while, suspected of illegally moving sanctioned oil from Iran.
And wow, when you look at the list of accusations against the Skipper and its owner, it's a lot. We're talking about being owned by a sanctioned Russian tycoon, who himself is accused of funding terrorist groups. On top of that, the ship was allegedly hauling illegal oil and even flying under a fake flag. It's painted as a vessel that's just swimming in illicit activity.
But here's the real kicker. According to the source, this is the one thing that provides the legal justification for the entire operation. The U.S. Treasury has formally accused the ship's owner of sponsoring foreign terrorist organizations. That, right there, is presented as the key piece of the puzzle.
But this story doesn't just stop with one ship. The source argues that this seizure is actually just the opening shot in a much bigger, more aggressive geopolitical strategy.
The picture being painted here is a full-on military encirclement of Venezuela. We're talking warships, troops, combat vehicles, all positioned in nearby bases to basically tighten the noose around the country and put maximum pressure on its leader, Nicolás Maduro.
And to really drive that point home, the source brings up this direct quote from Trump about Maduro: "His days are numbered." I mean, it doesn't get much more blunt than that, does it? It's presented as a clear, unmistakable signal of intent to get him out of power.
So after laying out this whole situation with Venezuela, the source then pivots and asks, okay, so who's next? Who is Trump's next target in South America?
And the name that comes up is Gustavo Petro, the president of Colombia.
And again, just like with Maduro, the source uses a direct quote from Trump to make its case. He's going to be next. It's framed as a very clear, very direct warning aimed right at the Colombian president.
So why Petro? What's the reasoning presented here? Well, the source boils it down to 2 main points. First, that Colombia is producing a ton of drugs, and second, that President Petro has been, in Trump's own words, quite hostile towards the United States.
So, when you step back and look at the whole story being told here, what do you have? The source presents this incredible narrative, doesn't it? It starts with a dramatic naval seizure, blows up into a massive geopolitical strategy against Venezuela, and then ends with a direct warning to a neighboring country. It really leaves you with a huge lingering question. What could the next geopolitical moves in South America even look like?